It's been a week since the 4070 Super is available in the market, and there are mixed comments in the community. I'm more towards the idea of the 4070 Super being a good card if you are upgrading from an older cards like the RTX 20 series or lower. In this video, we'll be talking about the second RTX 40 Super cards to arrive in the market. The RTX 4070 Ti Super, which shares the same price as the 4070 Ti at launch. Since there will be no Founders Edition model for the 4070 Ti Super, the model we have for this test is the MSI GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super VENTUS 3X. And we have tested it against both the 4070 Ti and 4080. Spoiler alert, there's an unexpected turn-off event which somewhat affected the outcome of our test this time. So design-wise, the 4070 Ti Super VENTUS 3X is almost identical to the non-Super variant at the first glance, but the GPU is actually based on the AD103, which is similar to what that is being used on the 4080. The power supply requirement and TGP though remains the same as the 4070 Ti, which is a minimum of 700 watts for power supply and a rated TGP at 285 watts. A 12-volt high power header is being used on the card, but you'll still find the adapter included in the package. For the display output options, the usual single HDMI and 3 display ports, and nothing out of ordinary. As always, here's our usual test bench setup for this particular review. Without any further ado, let's take a look at the numbers we have gathered for now. For the Raster performance, Nvidia has positioned the 4070 Ti Super for 1440p gaming just like the 4070 Super, but it proves to be more than powerful enough to handle a handful of AAA titles at 4K resolution with over 60 FPS, minus titles like Alan Wake 2 and Cyberpunk. Though they are not what we've expected, as the performance aren't too far off from the 4070 Ti. Scaling down to 1440p, although we can now see better performance on the 4070 Ti Super, that it's only slightly lower than the 4080. It is only observed on titles like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Horizon Zero Dawn, F1 22, and Metro Exodus. On the rest of the titles, the 4070 Ti Super can be seen performing almost like the 4070 Ti, or sometimes lower, which is not exactly what we expected to see. Similar patterns are observed at 1080p. Of course, all the titles easily exceeds 100 FPS at this resolution. However, I don't think spending $799 on the 4070 Ti Super and game only at 1080p resolution is the right thing to do. And shifting to ray tracing performance, DLSS 3 is again excluded from this test so we can better evaluate the base ray tracing performance of the 4070 Ti Super against the other cards without frame generation advantage. At 4K resolution, while most tested titles achieve playable 60 FPS plus frame rates, the 4070 Ti Super struggles with demanding titles like Alan Wake 2, Cyberpunk, and Metro Exodus. At the same time, the 4070 Ti Super performs more like a 4070 Ti instead of that close to a 4080 performance that many expect to see. The situation did improve slightly as we scaled down to 1440p resolution, but almost half of the titles tested still show that the 4070 Ti Super performs almost like a 4070 Ti. Things are pretty much the same even after we scale down to 1080p resolution. Which then leads to the question, what is going on with this 4070 Ti Super. Just this morning, we have received an update from NVIDIA regarding this issue. Turns out that we are not the only one that is facing this problem, and this is what we were told. We, NVIDIA, have discovered an issue with the MSI GeForce RTX 4070 Ti Super 16G VENTUS 3X GPU, where the performance was approximately 5% below expected figures on other RTX 4070 Ti Super SKUs. And an updated VBIOS from MSI is available here. So turns out that the performance issue is actually caused by a pre-release VBIOS, and this explains the weird behavior observed throughout our test. Since NVIDIA stated that MSI is already working on the solution for this, I'm sure that the stocks that has already been sent out will be affected, and MSI will have to sort things out with the distributors and resellers who already got their hands on the early stocks. You can use GPU-Z to check if your VBIOS is updated to the latest version, which is something like this. As for the other RTX 4070 Ti Super models, our advice for this is to check the official product page of that model you're planning to get and see if there's any VBIOS update available, since we cannot confirm if other models are affected. Now for our side, we have done another set of tests with the new updated VBIOS, and here's the new result. Now from our newly updated results, it actually shows a much better results compared to our initial numbers, though it's only at about 10% plus minus better than the RTX 4070 Ti. Now addressing the power draw and thermals. The GPU load temperature is somewhat reasonable, which peaked at 73 degrees Celsius on heavy loads. Memory junction and GPU hotspot, however, it's on the higher side, peaked at 92 degrees Celsius and 88 degrees Celsius respectively. The peak power draw for both 4070 Ti Super and 4070 Ti are actually very similar, which is at about 283 watts plus minus. This of course is only observed when we're doing synthetic benchmarks, and it usually doesn't draw more than 260 watts when we're doing normal gaming. We did notice something rather interesting while testing this, as the RTX 4070 Ti Super does seem to be drawing more power when we're using a 12-volt cable connected to it directly as compared to the adapters. With the 12-volt cable connected to this card, we can actually see a peak power draw of 329 watts as compared to what we have observed earlier, that is 283 watts plus minus. This, however, doesn't really show a significant performance improvement after we did another series of tests. With the performance issues now sorted out and seeing what kind of performance it can really deliver, I'll say the RTX 4070 Ti Super VENTUS 3X is still a reasonable upgrade options for those who are coming from older generation cards like the RTX 20 series or lower at the price of $799 US. I won't call it affordable, but if you need that extra CUDA cores, Tensor cores, and also more VRAMs for AI related tasks, it's still somewhat justifiable. If you only plan to use it for 1440p gaming, why not consider the RTX 4070 Super, which is also a card targeted at 1440p gaming segment as a much better value at the price of $599. So that's all for our findings for now. Will you consider upgrading to the 4070 Ti Super or perhaps the 1470 Super? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.